wrong for pretending to be a sugar baby to humiliate someone? I, a 31 female, recently moved into my boyfriend's 42 male house. We've been together 5 years. I'm friendly with almost all of his friends except for his best friend's girlfriend who hates me. I'll call her Elle. Elle thinks I'm a gold digger. My boyfriend does make a lot more money than me, but I have a decent job, work hard, and I make okay money. Part of the reason she thinks this about me might be because we've got different backgrounds. He and most of his friends grew up wealthy and I grew up working class. She's forever making little digs at my background. I'm from a poor part of the country with a strong accent and trying to pass it off as banter. For the record, I banter with my boyfriend all the time about our backgrounds. She doesn't do this in front of my boyfriend, and I've never really brought it up with him except for in passing because I just find it funny. Since I moved in with him, she's made non-stop comments to me about how I must be so happy I've bagged him because I never have been able to live in a place like this otherwise. She sounds like she wants your man, if I'm being honest. She wants to be you. That's the problem. People who talk like that are jealous people. Like, why does she care? Because she wants to be you. When people care that much, that means they are jealous. A few weeks ago, she even told me she was expecting me to announce a pregnancy to lock him in. I can't have children, but she doesn't know that. When she said that, it got to the point that it was no longer funny to me, so instead of laughing it off like I normally do, I decided I'd just play along. The next time she made a comment, I just smiled and placed a hand on my stomach. She looked shocked but didn't say anything. A little later on, she commented on how stressful it must be to not have a full-time job. So I just said something like, well, I won't need to worry about that soon, and kind of smiled again. I'm not sure why I thought this was a good idea, but I was enjoying how angry it was making her, so I kept doing it. That's because it is a good idea. I love it. Last Friday, at a meal out with my boyfriend and a group of friends, things came to a heat. I wasn't drinking, and in the middle of the meal, she brought it up and said something like, "It's weird to see a person from your region sober." I laughed it off, but then she kept asking why I wasn't drinking, even after I said I was on a diet. Eventually, she just blurted out, "You must be happy you're expecting Miles, but I thought you didn't want kids." I pretended to be shocked and looked over at Miles and said, "Actually, I can't have children." Literally, everyone was silent. I got up and left and Miles followed me. She was apparently mortified. At that moment, it felt great, but on reflection, I think I might have taken it too far. I've since heard that her boyfriend is sleeping at a different friend's house and the rest of the group aren't talking to her. I'm feeling more and more like an asshole and I'm wondering if I should come clean and tell everyone I deliberately misled her into thinking I was pregnant. My boyfriend knows this and thinks she had it coming. So, am I the asshole?
Best friend told my parents that I lost my V card because she was jealous. 2 months ago, I started dating a new guy at our high school. He was the new guy in school and every girl wanted to be with him, including my best friend. Now, before this, my best friend and I had never had any problems between us. She never showed herself to be envious or jealous of me, so I trusted her. And I literally told this girl everything. The new guy started showing me a lot of attention. He followed me on Instagram and DM'd me right away. Apparently, I reminded him of his ex, who he was obsessed with. One morning, my best friend and I are hanging out before class starts. The new guy walks up to us, says good morning to us both, and then asks me if he could talk to me privately. That's when my best friend says, "You can talk in front of me. I'm her best friend and she trusts me." So then he proceeded to ask me out in front of her. The look on her face was terrifying. She was so pissed off. Of course I said yes and he walked away. That's when my best friend said, "Oh my god, he's kinda ugly. Did you smell his breath? It stinks really bad. Why would you ever go out with that guy?" Then she says, "You better not go out with him." Part two. When she said, "You better not go out with him or I'll tell your parents." I looked at her and said, "You wouldn't dare." She's like, "You're right, I wouldn't." By the way, my parents were very strict. They'd never let me go out on dates, much less have a boyfriend. The weekend comes around and I'm getting prepared for my date. So I told my parents that I was going to be with my best friend the entire weekend. And of course, they believe me. I sent her a text message saying, "Hey, I told my parents I'm going to be with you. So if they ask you, you got to cover for me." She says, "Of course I will." I go on the date with the new guy and it was so much fun. For the first time ever, I was treated like a girl. He held my hand, he was kissing my neck, and he paid for everything. Like I said, up until that point, I'd never really had an experience like that. I was falling for him quick. We'd gone to watch a movie and at the movie theater he started kissing me. Of course I kissed him back. That's when he asked me if I wanted to go back to his house because his parents weren't home. And I said yes. As we're driving to his house, I was so excited. So I texted her out of excitement telling her that I was going to be going back to his house. She replied and told me that I was a slut and that I was being too easy. She even asked me to send her a picture of what I was wearing, which I did. Then she replied, "You'd look like a slut." Then we got to his house and we started making out again. Part 3 is up. That's when we started doing the dirty in his room. All while my best friend is slut-shaming me. Could hear her messages come in as we're on his bed. I grab my phone and silence it and see that I have about 20 text messages from her. I read the first one and it said, "You better not be effing him right now, or I will tell your parents." But of course I ignored them. I was doing it with this guy. But to be honest, it ended pretty quickly. As I'm getting dressed, he says, "Do you need me to drop you off at your best friend's, or can you stay and have dinner with me?" This boy was trying to cook me dinner. Of course I said yes. I text my best friend and tell her, "Why are you being so mean?" I told her that nothing happened, but she wouldn't believe me. That's when I told her that he was going to make me dinner at his house, and this is when she got even angrier. She said, "Why is he making you dinner? What did you do to have to get that dinner?" I told her nothing and she wouldn't leave me alone. That's when she started calling my phone. Of course I didn't answer. 3 minutes later, I get a call from my mom. I answered right away and pretended to be at my best friend's. And that's when my mom told me that my best friend called her and told her the truth. So I couldn't lie anymore. Took me to my parents' house and they were furious. My parents told this boy that he has to marry me. He literally ran away. I ran out of time. Part 4 will be up soon.
I don't like tattoos and my soon-to-be wife just got one in the worst place. I don't like tattoos. I don't think you're special for having one. I don't think you're a deep person for getting a random Chinese character on your skin, and I especially don't like those intricate big tattoos that cover up a lot of skin. I just don't like them. Having said that, I have friends that have all of the above, and that's fine. It's not on my skin, it doesn't bother me, and as long as we can talk about anything else, it's all fine. Enter my soon-to-be wife. We've been together for 5 years. She's painfully aware of my feelings, but still she wanted to have a tattoo before we marry, a symbol of us to carry with her. I didn't really like the idea, but what can I really do? I love her, and what harm can a tattoo do? We talked where she should have it done. The back of her wrist came as a suggestion, a shoulder, on her leg, on her back. She goes and has it done, and I can't be there with her because I have an important client visiting at work, and time off is impossible. She texts me during work. She tells me it's done, that she loves me. I ask for a picture of the end result. She tells me tonight. It'll be a surprise. So I finally get home, she's dolled up, super tight black dress, stockings, everything for a night of fun. She tells me to go have a shower and that she'll have dinner ready in the meantime. I ask to see the tattoo. She tells me later. I'm frustrated. I go and have a shower, come back and have dinner. Then we go to the fun stuff. I didn't see the tattoo on her wrist or legs, so I think to myself it's either on her back, upper thigh, or her shoulder. I'm fine with that. I undo the zipper in the back, then she returns and lets the dress down. Instant boner kill. She had done it on her chest, above her breasts. It's big and in your face. It leaks above her breasts, like on top of the breasts. It has thick contours. Yeah, this didn't go well with me. She completely ignored my opinions. She disregarded the places where we agreed that she could have it done. And it's a monstrosity of a tattoo in a place where I'll always have to see it if we make love or she wears a bikini or something that has cleavage. It also has something that is personal to me. Of all the things that she mentioned the tattoo will be, she never told me about this. She said that she wanted it to be a gift to me, to show me her dedication. I feel disrespected, ignored, like my wishes and desires have no meaning to her. To me, it shows that she thinks that my status will be in our relationship, that she'll just be able to go over anything I say and take drastic decisions without caring of the consequences. Well, a consequence of this is that I'm calling off the wedding. She's in freak out mode, says she thought I'd like it, that she wanted to show her dedication to me, that she will have it removed. Basically anything she thinks I want to hear. My side of the family is understanding of my reaction. They know my standing on this matter. Her side of the family is split. Her mother is more conservative, so her motives are not too straightforward. Her father is on my side. Her sister's all on dear sister's side. Her brother is neutral, doesn't want to get involved. To me, even if she gets the tattoo removed, it still shows her willingness to ignore my side of things, do things her way, then scramble and try to fix the eventual F-up. I can't have that in a relationship. The wedding is definitely off though. That decision I won't revert. What steps would you take regarding the relationship? Part 2. I don't like tattoos and my soon-to-be wife just got one in the worst place. We're going to continue with the wedding as planned. We realize that we still need to work on our communication, but we're also painfully aware how miserable we both were during this whole ordeal. This has been seen as our first serious fight. What happened? Insecurity. She had this idea that I don't think she's dedicated to our relationship. She wanted to prove it somehow. Turns out the end result wasn't something that she was happy with either. My initial reaction didn't help, and for the next few days things spiraled out of control. After the post, I decided that we need to sit down and put our ducks in order. I love her and she loves me, and there's no reason why we would not be able to untangle this mess. Why do I hate tattoos? All she knew is that I'm not a fan of them, but not the reason. When I was younger, a lot younger, I was horribly abused by someone who had many tattoos. I don't associate people that have tattoos with abusers, but I'm also not a fan of the tattoo culture because of it. She didn't know, because I never talked about it with her. I suppose I never wanted to think that I'm vulnerable, or that I was. You can imagine, after these many years, my thoughts on the matter are still mixed. Anyway, she was horrified to learn this and started crying. She'll have the tattoo removed. After the original post, I came to the conclusion that her new skin decoration is something that I'll have to deal with. But at the end of the day, she is the one I want, and a mild annoyance will not define our relationship. I told her this, but she said that she's going to get it removed anyway. I think she's horrified by the revelation. We also decided on couples counseling to see that if it's something that'll work for us. If either of us will be uncomfortable, we won't continue. We also decided not to be a-holes to one another in petty matters. We'll put a lot of work into ourselves individually and as a couple. Turns out, we have a problem with communication, but the prospects are still positive. My fears were that she had the tattoo done as a power play, but there was no malice. I want a relationship of equals, where a decision can be made as a couple. We'll see where this is going, but the last 2 days have been amazing. Am I in the wrong for refusing to honor my boyfriend's family's tradition? My boyfriend Eric, 29, and I, 27 female, have been dating for 3 years. For context, I've met his family and they're very friendly. We don't meet them very often because they live in my boyfriend's home country. I don't want to reveal the country names either for privacy reasons, but my boyfriend and I are of different nationalities and we both work in my country. The conflict happened during our last visit last weekend. We've been looking up houses to move in together and engagement rings. While we were having dinner, we mentioned this to his family as it's a big step in our relationship. His parents and brothers expressed their happiness for us, but then out of nowhere, his younger sister-in-law asked, "So, is she going to take the test?" I asked, What test? In summary, my boyfriend's family has this tradition where the future mother-in-law tests the daughters-in-law to see if they're good enough for her sons. Apparently, his mother and aunts went through the same test. The test includes how clean they can keep a home, how well they can cook, their manners, etc. Basically life skills most people learn from childhood. I found it ridiculous because 1, if I'm good enough for my boyfriend, then he should be the one deciding it. And 2, I don't fit in their targeted category. In his mom's words, you can't be a good stay-at-home wife and a stay-at-home mom if you can't be a good homemaker, and she wants to make sure of that. To be clear, his mom and all 3 of his brothers' wives are stay-at-home moms, and although I respect their choice, I'm not quitting my career, and I did not under any circumstances make my boyfriend think that I could compromise on that. I hate house chores, and I would rather buy homemaking gadgets and hire staff no matter what the cost. I told my boyfriend's mom all of this, and it caused an argument that eventually ruined dinner and an extension our visit. My boyfriend doesn't care whether I'm a working wife or a stay-at-home wife, but he thinks that I should have just done the test because it's just a test, and it's not like they would reject me if I failed. He thinks it's a fun tradition that everyone was looking forward to, and I should have gone along with it anyway.